Thank you for checking out this little teaser of the history of the papacy and church. Here's a little taste of what's coming up soon on the History of the Papacy podcast. Now, if you like what you hear, I'd love it if you'd leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or your podcatcher of choice. If you want to support the podcast even more, consider becoming a Patreon on patreon.com/history of the papacy. There are many levels and benefits for you, and you help keep the history of the papacy going. You can learn more about all of this at historyofthepapacypodcast.com. With that, here's another piece of the mosaic of the popes of Rome and Christian church, and I will definitely be talking to you more soon. This series is going to tell the story of the eventual decline and fall of the imperial papacy, the Middle Ages papacy, a papacy directly involved with secular politics, a papacy with a leader of a secular state. The Franks was where the story of the papacy of the Middle Ages began, and it's with France where it ends. The Franks gave the papacy the room in the 700s to be independent of the Eastern Roman Empire, and it was the French that took all that independence away from the papacy. Now, this episode will give you a lead up and reasons for the ending of the popes of Rome as players in the international political realm and as the leaders of a significant state. In upcoming episodes in this series, we'll talk about the beginning of the end with Pope Pius IX. We'll talk about the papacy's involvement in affairs around the world and things such as U.S. history, which U.S. history is another area of interest I have. And I think that we'll see that the papacy actually had some really interesting things to say and influences in U.S. history. We'll also talk about the really interesting explosion, you might almost say, of Catholicism in different corners of the colonial world.